Gentlemen, I have had men watching you for a long time, and I am convinced that you have used the funds of the bank to speculate in the breadstuffs of the country. When you won, you divided the profits amongst you. And when you lost, you charged it to the bank. You tell me that if I take the deposits from the bank and annul its charter, I shall ruin 10,000 families. That may be true, gentlemen, but that is your sin. Should I let you go on, you will ruin 50,000 families. You are a den of vipers and thieves. I intend to rout you out, and by the eternal God, I will rout you out.
Matthew 21, verse 13. And said unto them, It is written, My house shall be called the house of prayer, but you have made it a den of thieves. Matthew 25:27. Thou oughtest therefore to have put my money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received mine own with usury. You know, this story about the parable of the talents is how God, Jesus, is telling a parable about how people are to, they're given a gift and how they can make that gift grow. And it makes you wonder now with these 501(c) churches, if they're taking this story and twisting it. Jesus, when he came to the temple, remember how he threw out the people, the money changers, right? And in Jesus's time, the tax collectors were talked about as evil people. So taking those notions and switching them to what we have now with the 501(c) churches, it just makes you wonder, are they interpreting this in, as if they're doing something good, And I've been listening to this new channel called DDGotAPodcast. And if you haven't ever checked it out, you need to, because that guy is on top of things. But you know how, with us, if we go to the bank and we want to take money out of our account, they have to give you the third degree, if it's over a certain amount of money. They want to know, why are you taking this money out? What are you planning to do with it? And if you come into money, they want to know how you have that money. Why do you have that money? But these companies like Turning Point, they don't just have Turning Point. They have 4 different other roofs that they operate under. And every one of them is a 501(c), which means that they get a tax exemption for doing charitable work. Then they funnel money through what they call PACs, because, they want to be able to talk about politics. So they create these PACs where they are able to talk politics, because under the 501(c), they're forbidden, right? And then with these PACs, they create these, what they call LLCs. And mind you, I'm talking about things that I have no understanding what I'm talking about. But like I said, DDGotAPodcast. He had a guy that went through and audited Turning Point's books, what they have available on the government websites. And I'm just wondering, where do these people... I know whenever I was in school, I remember learning about economics, but they taught me how to run my own household. And then these people, they go through all this training to be money changers. And I guess I'm just trying to wrap my head around, how is this number one, legal, and two, how is this doing the work of the Lord? You know, Jesus said that he did not even have a place to lay his head. So he wasn't out there trying to build a mega church, and he wasn't out there trying to make it big. He was trying to win souls. And I was listening to something the other day, and they were saying, you know, for YouTube, you have to be careful when you talk politics and religion. Well, I guess this is where I want to let you know that as a Christian, I'm going to talk about my faith because I want everybody to know that they need to be born again and be saved, right? But politics, I bring this up not because I'm wanting to pick on Turning Point, because this is a thing that happens across the board, both parties. And so it's not a left-right thing, because that's the reason why. So with Turning Point, my dog interrupted me. The left and right, they don't pick on each other when it comes to this situation, because they know that they all are funneling money and growing money one way or another. So, like I said, I don't know how we got to the point where we are today. You know, Andrew Jackson tried to warn against this, and he was probably before his time in the warning. They could not foresee something like what happened at Jekyll Island. And then you see what happened in Georgia with the meeting, and those people that were on the Titanic that died, they're the ones that would have gone against having these church banks started, like, you know, the U.S. Treasury and stuff like that. And so just hearing about all of this, it makes me wonder, how is it fair? How is it legal? How is it scriptural? And so I guess, you know, like I said, that's my rant for today, is like learning about this. I was like, where did they learn this kind of stuff? I didn't learn anything like this in school. But I guess now when you go to preacher school, that's the kind of thing, is they teach you how to be rich and be a preacher. Because most of the preachers I knew growing up were all poor. I don't know. But I got some things I'm going to talk about next week. I had a procedure done yesterday, and then today I went for trying to learn about how to get VA benefits and stuff like that, because I was under the assumption that because I served during peacetime that I shouldn't be asking for anything, which was wrong. So I'll be talking about all of that next week. But it's just like I said, where do they go to learn how to be what they are? Like, are they twisting the scripture? Where did they learn this? Love y'all. Talk to you later.